Okay, we're live now, just sharing. Okay, so welcome everybody to Beyond the Cloud for Friday, June 18th, and hopefully everybody is having a wonderful weekend. I know here in Belleville, I'm not coming from the sunny place in Belleville because it's been raining all day. So, but so we kind of thought, and it's raining in the sunniest basement in Thornhill. It's raining as well too. So there we go, but not in BC. Look at Diane. I can just see the sun coming on there. So that's wishing we were in BC today for sure. Anyway, okay. So the question today is, do you mentor anybody or do you work with a mentor? So that'll be the question and topic. So we'll go around, introduce ourselves and answer that question. Then we can get into more conversation on that. So my name is Tanya Hiltz from Cloud Business Services and founder of Tanya's Bookkeepers Bootcamp. And yes. So I do mentor people through my Bookkeepers Bootcamp, as well as I mentor people through my AAA program, as well as I am a mentee under the absolutely wonderful Jeannie Whitehouse. And I have mentored under Ron Baker and Rhonda Lynn Korlick as well. So I do believe that, it's a good thing to be constantly, mentoring and be a mentee because we're constantly learning. Anyway, Lawrence, you were up next.
Good afternoon, Lawrence Fox, the usually bow tie wearing but always fountain pen wielding CPA who loves to do bookkeeping from what is usually the sunniest basement in Thornhill. But as you can tell, it's been raining today. I don't explicitly mentor anybody now because not directly. I have no employees. I'm not part of any kind of mentoring program, although it's funny because, and I don't know whether or not we would include giving advice on a long-term basis to a client or working with clients that are younger than I am and that are learning the ropes of business would consider being a mentor-mentee relationship. I have been mentored back when I used to work with somebody else for a living. But since I've gone out on my own, not really.
All right, thank you. Stacy, you're up next.
So I'm Stacy Stanley Young from Stanley Young Business Strategies in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Right now, Winnipeg is sunny, but those of you who are listening from our fair province, note that it is going to rain later because after work, we're planning on hooking up our trailer, and it always rains whenever we're hooking up the trailer. Yes, yeah. So there's the weather report. Years ago, when I was working for somebody, I had a mentor, and he was great because he was never afraid that I was going to take his job. Which was the best, right? He knew that we had a different skill set, but it was important for me to understand why what I was doing was important to him. I don't think I'm officially mentoring anybody, although I do have a junior on my staff and do spend a lot of time going, no, we're going to do it this way, and this is why, and we work together. So I guess I am, because again, I'm not afraid he's not going to take my job, so it's all good.
Nice. Okay. And Diane, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. Diane Mueller, Soma Small Business Solutions and Trifold Bookkeeper Advisors. Weather report is, it's absolutely gorgeous here in the coast of BC, and that's the way it's going to stay for 7 days, they tell me. So nice. That's great. And well, I have been unbelievably blessed because I've had quite a few mentors, but the one that sticks out in my mind that I learned the most from was, of course, Alan Salmon. He was, everybody knows who he was. He was incredible. And he mentored me for over 10 years. So that was a biggie. And I do try and give back and be a mentor for anyone that cares to hear what I have to say. I think my daughter would have considered me her mentor for sure over the years working for me at Soma. So yeah.
Awesome. Great. Kim, you're up next.
Hey everybody. Can I just say y'all are hilarious today. I'm seeing so much personality come out. It's wonderful. Anyways, Kim from Beyond Bookkeeping Business Services in Southern Niagara, Ontario. It had been raining majority of the day, but it's nice and bright and sunny now. And I did just quickly let my dogs out before this meeting, and the ground is starting to dry up. In the background on the ground down here is my handyman, Darren, if y'all can see him a little bit. He is assembling a desk for a new hire that I'm going to be doing shortly. And they will eventually be working virtually, but during their training phase, I do want them on site here, and also just for when I have stuff to be scanned and stuff. So that's why I'm putting a desk together for them. And I am both. I'm very fortunate to be part of Tanya's Bootcamp program. So I am a mentee under her. I'm also a mentee under Mark Wickersham for value pricing. And I've just recently had my second meeting with another bookkeeper as a mentor to them. And they have, it's very new for me to mentor somebody officially as a paid engagement. So we've just entered into a 3-month agreement to start, and it was part of my agreement with her in the beginning that I wanted constant feedback about if she was getting value from me mentoring her, because I certainly don't want to damage the existing relationship we had prior to entering this engagement. But I'm really enjoying it. And like I had said before, I've been looking recently for ways to stretch my skill set and my knowledge and stuff. And so, getting this construction client is one way, and now becoming a mentor to somebody, and if it goes well, other people in the future, that's stretching me as well. So I'm feeling very blessed these days.
Awesome. Nice. Thank you. And congratulations on, that's so exciting, moving into, an official mentor-mentee relationship, and, but yes. Okay,
It's
great.
nerve-wracking and exciting all at the same time.
It is. And there's lots of stuff I'm going to say, but I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves too. And then we got lots of stuff to talk about on that too. Anyway, Lynette, you're up next.
Hi there. I'm Renette Legase. I am the owner of Net Bookkeeping and author of The Courageous Entrepreneur. As well, I've been very fortunate to be mentored by so many amazing people as I've gone as an employee through a lot of different companies, as well as working on my own. And they were not official mentors where I was paying for at the time. It was more like the CFOs and, the head accounting person that would just totally take me on and, show me the ropes. And it was just fabulous being able to work with people willing and spending time to give back. I'm very fortunate right now to be working with Trifold Bookkeeper Advisors. So I know Diane just missed that little plug-in, but
Trifold's amazing.
Yeah, no, they're a great bunch of ladies. And what I love about having someone mentor me constantly is that they're catching me on my mistakes or just call me out. It's like, hey, wait a minute, why are you doing that again? And just keeping me on track. And I think that's probably one of the best things we can offer when we mentor others, as well as being mentored. I do have a new hiree working with me, and I'm hiring a second one hopefully soon. So I am mentoring them in that aspect, but not an official type of.
Doesn't have to be official.
But I still feel it is. You're constantly mentoring. It's like being a mother, right? Yeah. Like, oh, don't go over there. That's a big hole in there. Just come this way. Yeah. But so yeah, that's my experience. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. And last but most certainly not least, Jonathan.
Hi, I'm Jonathan from CADI Accounting Solutions, professional corporation. I have worked with coaches in the past. Our team is currently just finishing up actually with Julia, who is one of the coaches who's going to be on the call on June 30th. And I'll tell you, it's definitely interesting being married to a coach. Because sometimes we have to really let's not talk business and let's just, do a thing. I've been really fortunate to be mentored by a lot of people, some in an official capacity, like as a paid coach, and in other cases, just from having relationships with people. And I know, a couple that really helped me early on, and I still chat with every now and again, our Chad from Live CA and Ryan from Zen. I was really lucky to meet them both, and Jenny Moore. And I was really lucky to meet all of them like 2015, like the year after I started my practice. So it was really nice. And I mean, I'm learning constantly. I mean, I learned stuff from Kim in the past month and a half, right? Tanya and I are teaching each other things all the time. So I think that information comes from all over the place. And I mean, formal or not formal, it's good to have those relationships. And Diane is really making me jealous right now.
I know. Look at that.
Oh
Look
my
at the
gosh.
view in the, oh yeah.
It's bluer than my fake background.
It is. You're right. And the clouds are fluffier than your fake
They're
background.
so gorgeous.
So yeah, so I think so. First off, this topic has kind of come up because for those of you who haven't registered, you will see posts out through the Bookkeepers Corner group and through my social media as well as Jonathan Carter's. So like feel free to share as well that we are having a webinar. So Jonathan and I co-host. Well, I host and Jonathan actually does, but we work very well together, providing the bookkeeper, the accountant aspect, but Jonathan kind of runs most of it. But it's the Enhancing the Accountant Bookkeeper Connection series. So it's Jonathan's baby, which is where I just kind of come in and help offer the bookkeeping perspective on it. But Jonathan had an amazing idea, which I think probably came from Kim, or don't know where it came from, but to do on mentors. So Jonathan, do you want to, considering again, you're the one that wrote kind of the content, you want to share just little sneaks about it?
So Kim did mention it some time ago, but for me, the real trigger point was actually meeting a coach who just spoke our language and really helped translate between like having 20 years of industry, hands-on industry experience. He's been in the consulting coaching business. This is what year 3 or 4 for him. So it hasn't been that long. But when you look at what he does for those customers, it was just like, this is great. And, the 3 coaches, actually, the only one who actually really coaches accountants, bookkeepers is Jeannie. The other 2, Julia's focused on female entrepreneurs who are creatives, and Brian's focused on the construction industry. So it's a really, hopefully going to be a very broad examination of when, why, and how do you pick a coach? Because, there's, especially, and I'm sure everybody noticed, but during this pandemic, there've been a lot of pop-up businesses. And I think coaching and bookkeeping have been the 2 highest. That and maybe real estate agents. People trying to hop on board and thinking they can become the next millionaire real estate agent overnight.
Yeah.
But as we all know, because we've been around the block a couple of times, it really takes dedication and learning and really drive to make it a career out of it. This isn't something you open your shop and you immediately have success. So, as an entrepreneur, as an accountant, going from doing tax returns and a little bit of bookkeeping to actually growing a company has been a real challenge for me. And if it wasn't for the coaches that I've had along the way and the amazing relationships I've been able to make with people, I definitely would not be where I am now. Not to say that I'm like way out there or anything, but I'm still on my growth pattern, but having these relationships has been amazingly helpful. So yeah, it's going to be a time press webinar though. So
well, and it will. And it's funny because you say, Jeannie mentors accounting professionals. She's actually very new into that. So
yeah.
For those of you who don't know Jeannie Whitehouse, she has been mentored for well over a decade by Edie Osborne, who is the founder of Mentor Plus and the Level 5 Certified Advisor Program. And Jeannie has recently taken that over. So Sherry Lee Mathers and I were fortunate to be in her pilot project. So up until then, Jeannie has focused on like the wine industry. That's her niche. So she's moving into that and she's absolutely wonderful. I'm not too sure. We'll have to ask her, how many formal agreements, she's worked with people before then, but I don't think it's been very many on the bookkeeping side, but she is absolutely amazing. And, I think there's definitely points as to how and when to determine your mentor, because one thing we talked to on the Beyond the Cloud is that again, I've mentored under some greats. I spent 9 months with Ron Baker. I spent a year with Rondalyn Corlick. I've been almost a year with Jeannie Whitehouse. I told her we're not done. We're far from done. It's a forever one as far as I can see for now for that one. But there may be a time that I feel that I need something different from Jeannie. And again, it's not to say that that person wasn't wonderful. And Kim, you've got, Mark Wickersham, and whatnot. And again, it's just that you get different things from different people. And there is somebody that I'm working with that's also working with Kathy Badry, who we've kind of worked together. So she said, there's a project, she brought it up. It's something that I started and Kathy finished with. So you might even be, find that you can work with two people for different purposes that both bring different things to it. And, I think it's just important that people realize, which is what I love about our industry. And, it's all about collaboration. And of course, I know we have the person to thank for starting the collaboration movement with Diane Mueller right on the call. So thank you for that. And I'm, happy to do my part in continuing with that. I think something else, and then I'll shut up after this and let other people talk. I think something as well too, that especially came up in the Beyond the Cloud and Clubhouse, is that there are many non specific or non-formal agreements you get into, like Lauren said, your clients, you're learning from your clients are learning from you. You're in a non-formal, kind of in what we do, it tends to grow into that, a non-formal mentoring agreement. And then even with our colleagues, I know, like Sherry Lee Mathers, her and I, we're each other's, essentially the best way to describe it, she's my work spouse. So we talk to each other daily. She's one of my best friends as well. But if I've got a problem, I know there's a number of people that I could call, but it kind of depends on what it is. But I end up talking most of it out with her. And, she does the same thing with me. So that's an unofficial, and I, until today, I'd never realized that, hey, that is kind of a mentor-mentee agreement, like relationship that we both have together, because we support each other, help each other, give each other that advice and that, that push up when we need it. So I'm going to stop talking now because I'm sure lots of other people have thoughts.
I have a quick question about the session coming up at the end of the month. Is it going to be slide presentation style like other ones, or is it more of a panel discussion?
So it's going to be, because we have to do the poll questions. So it's going to be essentially, I swear, Tanya and I will be very quick on our intros. Poll question, a few introductory slides just to get the juices flowing in people's minds, introduce the panel, and then hopefully a half hour with the panel, and then followed by Q&A with the panel. So hopefully it's going to be 35 to 40 minutes of the panel. And we have essentially just 4 items outlined. We're going to, okay, spoilers. So everybody's going to have a chance to kind of give their kind of quick over of what they do, because I mean, we all have customers, and God knows some of our customers could use coaching. But we're going to do that. And then there's just 3 questions that we're just going to get the different perspectives on, and hopefully it'll be very insightful. That's my hope.
Yeah. And I agree with you, more about them, because when you've got people, like those calibers, people are coming for them. They're not coming from us. They see us monthly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Diane, you were saying something, but I think you were on mute.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask a question. What everybody thought, do you think there is a difference between mentoring and coaching?
Absolutely.
And if so, what do you think that difference is?
Okay, well, I can answer my thought real quick.
Go ahead.
Because I coached my kids soccer on all of them, so they all got stuck with me. Unfortunate for 3 boys, but anyway, for me, I think coaching is, I have a desired outcome I'd like to see the group achieve. So I'm looking at getting that desired outcome as a coach, but a mentor is almost like allowing the person to choose the direction on their own, but just kind of guiding them. But that's how I view it.
Good. Yes.
That's a great analogy.
I think so too.
Yeah, that is very good. That is very good. And from my perspective, yes, there's differences. I think a mentor, from my understanding, and what I do is very different than any of that. When I work with people, like really, it's not really mentoring, it's not really coaching. It's kind of like I'm a problem solver, and neither mentors nor coaches are meant to actually solve problems. They're meant to ask the question so that the people can lead themselves there. But that's just not me. I that's not in my nature. So that's why it's very, very different. But I think a mentor is more to provide the experience, the analogies or whatever the experience. A coach, you're right, kind of more guiding, and both of them, I think the people have to make their own decisions to get to their own end. Again, that's my thought process on that. Yeah, Lawrence.
So is Yoda a coach or a mentor?
I would
He's
say
a
Yoda's a
Jedi
mentor.
master, man. Come on.
Yes. But when he has Luke running around the jungle, is he mentoring him or coaching him?
True. He's training him.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I think they all kind of, they all kind of go into, they all weave, I guess, interweave with each other in one way or another, because sometimes I guess you can't just be one or the other. I don't think. I think again they kind of overlap.
Okay, Diane, you asked the question. What was your thought on
Yeah.
it?
I think that you were spot on, actually, Renette, because you do, and that's a really good analysis when you're coaching a hockey team or anything. You're literally telling them how to, right? How to score a goal, how to, knock the opponent out, or whatever it is, right? So it's a lot more of how to than mentoring, which is, I think, by its nature, more experience. This is how I handled it. This is what has happened to me in the past that you might get some, just some ideas from. But mentoring I don't think it can be a how to, because the way people handle things in their own business or in their own life has got to be for them. All they can do is get information, kind of digest that information, and then see how it would work best for them.
Yet there are so many coaches who do not dictate. What they do is they ask you a bunch of questions and force you to
Yes,
think about
and that's
things.
exactly right, Lawrence, which is the reason for my question. Because oftentimes when you get into a relationship with a coach, that's all they're doing is asking you questions for you to come up with the answers. And I often thought, I'm
Well,
not sure I
it's not,
understand the reason for two.
but Diane, I don't think it's the answer. It's an answer that fits you.
Yes,
And that-
of course.
Because a lot of
Yeah.
coaches are not going to think, because they'll tell you, I don't want you to be me. I want you to be you. And I'm using my methodology to help you find the best you that could be you.
Right.
See, and
Right?
that's really interesting.
I mean, there is a point at which there's only 3 ways you can throw a football or take a shot or kick
Yes.
the soccer ball.
Yes.
But you've got to motivate them differently, and you have to teach them and I'm sure that Renette will tell you that there are
Skill.
8 different ways of having an offense in soccer, and we not being and since hockey is foreign to me because I don't worship in the Church of Hockey either. And you hear all these guys talking about, the system we have, and I'm listening.
Well, isn't it more about a skill though? When you get to that, you're teaching a skill, how to throw the football,
The skills are definitely like the basic strategy, but the strategy, I think, is like when I was coaching the boys, I would use certain strategies based on different person's skill set. So I know one person can throw the ball into the freaking net if we were at the halfway line. So guess what? I'd make the kids run out, like I'd call out a name, literally give them a woman's name, and that was the play, and they would run a play. So it was a strategy. But it's interesting because
I also wonder if sports coaches and business coaches, despite the name, are not the same thing.
I know.
Hey, Matthew.
So therefore, the words are becoming interchangeable, I mean, I heard somebody else say the difference is a coach relationship. For a business coach, you're always going to pay for it. You don't always pay for mentoring.
True.
I've also heard that as a difference.
See, and it's interesting because I've never really thought, and by the way, welcome Matthew. Yay, thank you for coming on. So I've never really thought about the difference between business coaching, because I don't think business coaches really are that hands-on and tell them what to do. But you're right, sports coaches absolutely do, which is why when I created like my program that we're like launching later in the year, it's a soft launch and I'm working with 7 people right now. We've called it a AAA program because it's not really coaching. It's not really mentoring. It's not really, I didn't know really how to describe it. So it's answers, advice, and accountability is what the AAA stands for.
So
Because
you know what?
I had people saying, but that's not coaching. Coaches don't tell people what to do and help train people on that, right?
I think this interweaves too with consultants now as well.
Yeah.
Oh my
Right? 'Cause
God,
you can
another
hire
word. Oh
A
no,
consultant
another word.
who will specifically attack a specific thing in a specific manner.
All right. So
For instance, there's somebody
let me
who
frame the question a little bit differently, because I mentioned Yoda on purpose because, as you may know, George Lucas based a lot of Star Wars, especially the what I call the first 3 films, on the Arthurian legends. Okay, there's a lot there that's stolen. John Williams stole the music, and George Lucas stole the story, and so Yoda is Merlin. I never thought of Merlin
Makes
as
good
coach.
sense, does it?
Okay, but definitely because Merlin didn't teach him how to be a king, but he did teach him how to be a king.
Yeah.
So mentor, like, I kind of cut the tail end of this, but one of the things I've always seen is between a coach and a mentor, the best mentors in life, you generally don't recognize they were your mentor until after the fact.
Yep. That's a really good point.
So is it almost a case where I might seek out a coach, but a mentor just arrives in my life?
A mentor just instills knowledge. A coach, you ask and request it.
Interesting.
And you know what? And it's funny that you say that, because when I started working with Jeannie, I wouldn't have said she's a mentor at first. I was working with her through the Mentor Plus, the level 5 certified advisor program. That's what I was working with her. Then after I began to be like, no, I'm not done with you. There's more. We've got a really good connection. We see a lot of things the same. I think you're right. I think it started to evolve into that.
I was about to say, it's possible that the relationship may start off as a coach to coachee and evolve into a mentor mentee.
And I think a mentor can learn from the mentee just as much.
Yes.
But a coach very seldom does.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you, Matthew.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's one thing that Jeannie says all the time when she, when we're in our calls with, myself and Sherry Lee or whatever, she's like, I learned so much from you. But this is why I loved Jeannie, is because she freely admits that she has imposter syndrome. And I absolutely love that. When we're in the calls, she's like, hey, girls, don't beat yourselves up. I made that mistake last week or whatever. And what I loved about that is, like, you look at some people and they're up here and you feel that they're up there and they don't admit that, hey, I'm still human. I'm still this, I'm still that. And then you're like, oh my God, I'll never be like that. And then that's what it was with Jeannie, is I'm like, hey, because Jeannie, when I very first met her, I had no idea who she was. It was San Jose. We started chatting, we this, we that, it was great. I thought she was wonderful. And then 2 days later, like, we were at a few events together. And then 2 days later, I see her up on stage as one of the top 10 women in accounting worldwide. I'm like, what? And then I go down for lunch or for breakfast the next day. She's sitting there by herself. And I'm like, I can't sit down with her. I can't eat. She's like way up here. And she's like, Tanya, sit down. And, and then she remembered me year after year after year. And, again, when I'm talking to her, again, like, I had her built up here, and then working with her as I do, I'm like, you're not up here. I can attain what you've got. I can get there because you're human just like I am.
Can we ask today's question to Matthew and Carol?
Yes, Matthew and Carol. So today's question was, of course, within the mentor-mentee topic. Do you mentor anyone, or have you been, or are you mentored by somebody? And of course, introduce yourselves, because you're not on here, Matthew. You pop in when you've got time and it's an exciting subject, right? So
Well, whenever I see a pot, like I always think about it, I always want to come on, but I'm usually like in meetings around this time. So
you're a
whenever it's
busy
free, I'm
guy.
like, oh, I'm gonna jump in and at least say hi real quick where I can. So because I always think about y'all. The first thing I was gonna say is it's so good to see everybody. So hello,
Thank you. So
I
good to
miss
see
you all. I can't wait to come back up again sometime soon. I think probably everybody here knows me. I'm Matthew. My friends call me Spot. I'm an accountant. I live in Southern California, Ventura, and I created a Facebook group called QB Community Live. Facebook group of, well, we've got about 2,200 members now. It's kind of cool. So it's been really neat to see that kind of grow. That kind of goes into play with some of the do you mentor or mentee and so forth. I can tell you first that he's not as much of a mentor anymore, but again, after the fact, person of how he became, I know he's my mentor, was I was in the car audio industry for about 14 years. In about 2006, I took over a different shop, and this gentleman named Bob was the old owner. He's the gentleman who got me into writing articles for the car audio industry and going and teaching classes to other business owners. He got me involved in the educational committee for this group called MIRA, Mobile Electronics Retailers Association. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I'd be doing the things I am today, because I went out to an event. They flew me out to Tennessee, and I think I was like 23 at the time. Met with it was a bigger conference, and met some people that came to one of my courses. About 9 months later, there was another event happening in San Diego that I wasn't going to, but two different people drove an hour and a half the wrong direction to come up and say hi to me before they drove all the way back down towards San Diego. And I've always remembered that because it made me realize that when you share your knowledge with others openly like that, you can have a major impact on things, and you just never ever realize it. So I try my hardest. I don't formally mentor people, but
you informally do. You guys do a lot on your group. You guys do a lot. Was it your Thursday QB Lives?
Yeah, weekly sessions every Thursday.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys do a lot.
We need to get a lot of you folks on there. We do guest hosts now, and I'm all about trying to bring individual people on and be able to. I want to share your stories and like boost everybody up is the whole point.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Anytime, and anybody in this group who's watching this, get over there and check out their group. It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Okay, Carol.
If I'd known this was what it was, I probably wouldn't have shown up.
I know. It just ended up, we're like, hey, there's nobody
That's
else.
not the question we were going to ask.
I know, we forgot though. You weren't here to remind us.
Well, I had to go meet with a client as an emergency to do nice things, and ended up the long and short of it that she came and collected all her stuff.
Oh.
Which, you know what, is an okay thing, because she was draining me. So somebody thinks they can do a better job.
Let them.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
May I share something with that real quick?
Please do.
One of the largest clients we ever had, and this was back in 2016, it was a precious metals company, and they were doing probably $5 million a year. And it was like, I was hustling so hard trying to keep up with this company that kept growing and growing and growing. And they were so demanding to the point where, like, most of the time it was great, but he was being such a pain in the butt that one night, it was like Saturday night at 8 o'clock, he gives me a call, and I'm like already stressed out, pissed off. And he gets me so mad, I almost like smacked my dog. And I stopped and I breathed. It took a moment to breathe. And I said, I'm sorry, but Parkway is no longer able to provide services to you. If we feel it's appropriate for you to find somebody else at this time, you've outgrown us. And I did it out, like I'd already been considering at the point in time whether or not I should do this, because I was getting frustrated. And I was scared to death because it was the single largest client paying us the most money out of everybody. And more than that, there was also because I become friends with clients, everything else. I didn't like feeling like I was letting somebody down. It was by far the best decision I ever made. And it did not take me long to recognize that. And I know you will find the same thing, but I'm sorry for this day for you.
Very well said. Thank you for sharing that, Matthew.
You know, every client that I have lost because I wasn't quite strong enough to pull the trigger, and so they pulled the trigger, have been a blessing. And when I have sat back and thought about it, be like, oh, I probably should have fired them a couple of months earlier, because either the relationship was not working for the two of us, they've outgrown me, I've outgrown them. I'm not sure what the thing was, but every single one of them has been a good thing. And I feel no ill will towards any of them, and I want them to do well. So
You know what, Carol? I think what I'd like to say to you is every single one of us have had a day like you're having right now. And every single one of us have felt as low as you're feeling right now. So the biggest thing to take in right now is know this happens to everybody.
Oh yeah, and that part is, that's not the part that upsets me. The part that upsets me is it's the business owner. She's like the major owner, and she's got two investors who are, I'm not saying it to be racist, but they're men, and they think we don't know what we're doing. So they've demanded that she take it back, she do the bookkeeping and get everything up to date. And it's like, oh, okay.
Well, then they don't see the value in you.
No.
Yeah.
And that you can't change somebody's mind about.
Oh,
So.
no. And I'm okay with that. It just, I feel bad for her because it's her company and she's ready to walk away from it as well. And it's just, it's really sad. So I have to now go through the disengagement, but I'm not refunding anything for this month. No, sorry.
Good for you. And charge them to train them too, because you're smart and they don't realize it.
It's on a pad agreement, so it's already been set up. Whether they realize it or not and pull the trigger on it, I still also have $1,000 retainer, which if they let that go through, I'll refund the $1,000. If they stop payment on that, they won't get the $1,000.
Good for you.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Because I still have to go through and do all the disengagement of everything.
Yeah.
All the apps, all the stuff. I have to go in and delete all my memorized transactions. I still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's amazing just how many customers we've got over the last year because they went with the cheapest option they could find and ended up in a situation where it's just like, oh my God. And I have a feeling like you get customers like this, and there was one a while back who left us and then came back and just the other day left us again. And
I won't take them back.
I'm not taking them back.
If still a part of it, I won't take them back.
Yeah,
So
that's my feeling on it.
There's other, I've been on the fence for a while. Some of it goes against the grain. Tanya knows about some of it, but it's, I'm okay with it. I'm okay because I've been doing so much to try and get this one up to date, where I've literally gotten 8 months, 5 months of bank statements and 3 months of credit card statements 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And now
What the
trying
hell
to
are
get
you supposed to do with that?
exactly. Like, I'm sorry. Like, anyways, and so getting rid of them will give me more time to be with my family and friends, so I can focus on getting all the rest of my clients up to date that are a little bit behind, because I've spent, and I said to them, in the last 2 weeks, I've spent 60 hours on your account trying to get things up to date. But
Wow.
I sent out umpteen emails waiting for paperwork or explanation, or, what's this for? Or here, you're going to do the deposits here. You should have already done them anyways. You're supposed to be doing that part of it. But here's those paperwork back. You go do them. Asked her this morning, got that done yet? Nope. That was a week ago. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know that some things are the same in Canada and the United States.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Well, not much difference. Not much difference.
It'll put a small bit into my bank account, but not enough to hurt me. So
Yeah.
it opens up the door for other clients.
Yeah.
I find that too. Like when you watch somebody bad go, okay, it might be a good chunk of money, but it seems to replace itself pretty quick.
With somebody better.
Yeah.
Last week I ended up with a situation that what do you mean you're charging me? What do you mean you're charging me monthly? And then, I'm like, well, what do you want? And she's like, well, I want this, this, and this, and I don't want to pay you. I don't think so. And
did you just
anyway,
stand up and leave?
Right.
Like that would
and
be
I
an
did. And
appropriate reaction.
I'm like, hit that disengage button right there. Everything went through. And well, I don't understand these reports. Well, it's not my problem. You didn't send me any of your anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
On the very same day, I get one email that says, we're done. I get the very next email going, oh, and I'm increasing your services from a different client. And I'm like, I've just replaced that income in a matter of 30 minutes without even thinking, right? So it will,
yeah.
Karma will come back. It'll be good.
I'll have a really nice summer with a lot less work to do. I'll still be okay until somebody else comes along.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you some of my clients. They're not great ones, but I'll give you some.
No thanks.
Okay, so Matthew, you just put something in the chat about cookyourbooks.com. What is that about?
Another characteristic trait of me is I'm a smart ass all the time.
That's what we love about you, though. Love it.
Many years ago, I have quite a few domains. I've been sitting on these for a while, and Cook Your Books obviously is the whole idea, anybody who comes to me is like, well, I need you to do this and do that. I'm like, yeah, you probably need to go see the folks over at Cook Your Books. And if you pull the domain, it forwards to my website address, of course, because I own the cookyourbooks.com, and I've always wanted to do some kind of a marketing ploy where I have like a Martha Stewart lookalike, and do like different, different people like that. And imagine that she's like up at a counter and she's kind of talking about the services, and back behind you can see there's the accountant, and I'm talking traditional accountant, visor on, pulling the thing down, like scribing away, right? And she's talking about, basically acting as if she's talking about a recipe of getting your accounting done. And then this IRS person comes walking out, leans over, looks at it, leans back up, and she goes, looks like they need to cook a little longer. So, and I think there could be a whole ploy of some of that stuff, or instead of just being a redirect, it'll come to me someday soon.
Oh, that'll be good. You'll have to do that.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Funny.
I don't know. I'm trying to see it, and
He looks at the books and says, Martha, you're going back to jail.
Yeah.
Oh no, she's selling kitty litter now. It's all good.
Oh, is she? Oh, nice. Nice.
She's making more money than all of us selling
Just to go back to the question, yes, I have a mentor. Is that what the question was?
Yes. Yes. You have a few.
And you
I have a
mentor
couple.
everybody.
She has a few. Yeah.
Yes. And they're for different reasons, and I value each and every one of the three that I have. So.
Yep. And then do you mentor anybody was the other part of that question.
I do advisory services. I don't know if that's considered mentoring, but I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance to do any of that stuff. And I know that I'm stretched. I know that I'm like, so, yeah. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay that I'm not going to have another 30 hours a week. So then instead of
it's that
5
one.
hours, I'll be 30
It's
hours.
that one. I know who that is.
Just in time for summer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I don't have to do all that kind of work on demand deadlines of doing payroll Thursday night at 11 o'clock or 5 o'clock Friday morning, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because the stuff isn't ready until then. When my letter that goes out says on Monday, it's due by noon on Wednesday. So I can run T-sheets and run payroll for Thursday because I don't work Friday. Yeah. So I'm okay with it.
Carol,
Yeah.
you're well rid of that person if that's the case.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Let them be somebody else's nightmare.
Well, she says, I'll probably call you with help. I said, sure. When I get that phone call, I said, sure, I'm $125 an hour, prepaid.
No, 200.
Okay.
200, Carol. 200, damn it. 200 prepaid.
And that's US dollars too, by the
There
way.
we go. There we go.
Because she
Even
has
better.
to pay you the YMPO additional. That's the you pissed me off
Oh,
charge.
I'm like, I've never heard of that. I know PETA, but I like that.
Yeah,
YM.
Well, you know what?
I
the
have it
thing
as
is,
a YPMO surcharge.
I like that.
The
I
only
usually just
question
put
I
the
can
age
never
tax.
put on a questionnaire is, how much do you drink?
Are you saying
Are
that you
a-
price the client comparable to that? Is what you're saying? Like the more you drink because of the client, the more expensive their service should be?
Are you
We
a
have to
day?
pay for the alcohol somehow.
Ask them if they're a day drinker, because if they're day drinkers, then they're probably calling you drunk during the day, right?
Actually, I was in a client's office one time and you could just tell by his demeanor, he was little, and I said, "You've been drinking today?" He's like, maybe.
Yes. It's COVID.
Well, at least he didn't try to lie about it, right? There you go.
And don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with anybody drinking. I've been there, I've done that, I gave it up a long time ago. But when I know that that is affecting your business and how you're treating me because of it,
Yes.
then we have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
And that is
Absolutely.
my personal opinion.
Well, a long time ago, I had a reverse mentor. I had a client who, whenever he had a thought, he needed to speak to me about it.
Ah.
And one time it was, and Ruffy was very young at the time, at 6 o'clock, he called me and I was giving Ruffy dinner and was this client. And I'm on the phone with him and I said, Richard, is the office burning down? No. Is CRA at your door arresting you? No. Then whatever the fuck it is can wait till 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's 6 o'clock now. This is my family time. When he fired me 2 weeks later, he told me that he didn't see his two oldest children grow up. And I said, that's my problem. How?
Yep.
And that was, and I'm glad. I mean, yeah, it was yes, like you, this was a guy who was keeping me busy 2 or 3 days a week. And it was a big kick in the pants. But I felt much better afterwards.
Matthew, you're so bad.
Moving things around, making sure people are paying attention.
He's just messing with me because I asked him about it.
Again, did you miss the part about that he's a little bit of a troublemaker or whatever it was he called himself?
This is my
Oh, here's a note to self and to you, Matthew. Very confidentially, that is the client that you helped me with that one time. And
Mhm.
did you know that even though we put you on as a user and took you off as a user, your name stays there forever now?
What?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Because she,
What?
no, I had no idea either. She phoned me one day and she said, "Who's Matthew Fulton?" I'm like, I don't know who's Matthew Fulton. And in my mind, I'm going, "Who the hell?" And I go, "Why do I know that name?" And they're like, "Oh," I'm thinking, "Oh, do you know him?" She goes, "Nobody's in my books." And I'm like, "Oh, he helped me with something. We had to test the user thing with the projects because of the whole."
That's why
payroll
CRA called me.
And she goes, "Oh,
See that-
okay." And she goes, "Well,
You
how
see
do I
that a
get rid of
lot.
it?" Apparently,
You see that a lot if you actually add support, like somebody from Intuit support,
same.
and then you can't remove it ever.
Oh, I
Well,
learned that on my books.
which makes sense from the perspective of audit. Oh, Matthew touched XYZ, and that there you'll find that in the audit trail. But
Generally, the best way is like if you go into like always have somebody add you to their accounting firm and then only provide access to the one file for the short bit of time, because that way from the US perspective, it may be different in Canada. I always have to remember I have to say it this way. I think it's the same thing in Canada, that if I'm in on the firm, whoever the user is for the firm, they will see the primary person from the firm, and that's it inside the books is what it's supposed to be.
I think it's the same here.
I got
Supposed to be.
I got a
Anyways,
call
no
from
big deal. It was
Intuit a
just
while
a
ago
thought.
for doing that with you, Tanya.
Oh.
Doing that exact- Tanya
It's-
doesn't work for you. Why is she listed as one of your teammates?
Oh, because when we were testing out the working papers.
Exactly.
Does,
Yeah.
does anybody find, even if you have team members that are inactive, when you're adding clients to another, or sorry, clients that are inactive, when you're adding a new team member and selecting which clients they're going to have access to, the drop down at the top says active only, but the list includes even inactive ones. Does that happen to everybody else too? Even if the drop down says active only?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's weird.
That, and I
hate
hate
that.
the fact that we don't have the ability to very like quietly disengage ourselves from a client's file.
Right?
Yeah.
And don't forget all those memorized transactions. If you don't delete those, it shows up that you've done them over and over and over.
Oh, that's a good
Yes.
Yeah.
I learned
Never
that
even
from
thought of
Tanya.
that.
So that's one thing I get to do this afternoon is go in and delete all those memorized
Same
transactions.
same
for
thing from Receipt Bank. If you don't disconnect any of your apps, if you're because I actually have, when I was down at San Jose, at one point I was dealing with the client and it was not a good breakup. It was a very, very bad breakup. So they called me flipping out on me. Bad on their end. I was very professional the whole way, but they called me flipping out on me that I was still in their file and they were going to sue me. And I'm like, why would I work on your file? Hello, you're still pushing stuff through Receipt Bank and we're going to sue you and on and on. And no, it was because I had connected the Receipt Bank file and I had just transferred it to them. I didn't disconnect it from QuickBooks first. I let them take it over, and therefore it still showed in the QuickBooks audit log as me.
Oh, good.
So I disconnect every app. I take off every rule. I take off every recurring transaction. And so they can redo it themselves, but that way my name is fully out of there. And yeah.
Also, this was one we learned the hard way. You know, when you set up automated reports to go to somebody,
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
You name
there's
a
not a nice way to be reminded of who they're going to. We had a client of mine who's a longtime friend, fortunately, got divorced.
Oh.
Oh no.
Uh-huh. And the
Oh.
husband was still getting automated reports as they were going through the divorce. We checked all kinds of stuff, and flat out, I didn't think of it at
I wouldn't have
all.
thought of it. I would not have thought of it, the reports either. Okay, that's being
Wow.
added to my list, my disengagement list.
That's why
Carol,
that's so
watch for the
important.
update.
Well, I need one today.
It's almost like you need an ongoing onboarding list to keep track of everything that you're ever asking for access to.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That can then be ready to go click print and say, by the way, here's everything you gave us access to. It is your responsibility to remove this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we can't remove ourselves from like CRA, from WSIB, WCB, all these things that we have. We can't remove ourselves from QuickBooks, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Well,
You
remember,
know?
like record of employment, you can't.
Yeah, you
delete
can't
them
you
from
can't
that.
remove yourself. I
Nope.
was doing that yesterday, Carol, and I couldn't get my my firm disconnected for ROEs
Nope.
Yep.
from a client. Yeah.
Actually, I phoned the ROE area and they actually took me off of some of the older clients that were there. But
Oh,
they
did they?
So
actually,
they have to do
Yeah.
it. They have
have
I've
to
done
do
it by phone too. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but then now you have to call and you have to stay on hold. What happens if it's an hour hold, right?
You
That's
can't
Well,
tell
that's
Put
your
that
all part of my
put that
disengagement. So until I
put
get
that on
those
your list.
done,
Put that on your list too, Tanya.
yeah, that actually is there's an email that we've got that anybody in Bootcamp gets that goes out to the client, that our disengagement email that says, please remember you've got to remove us from, this and whatever. And that, I'm sure that's listed on there. I'll add, I know CRA's on there, WSIB's on there, but I'll add that on there.
Yeah.
Here's
Wow.
another fun
Is
one
the
for
closing
everybody.
salutation FOAD?
FOAD. Oh, Green Day does a song with that, but they just call it
oh,
FOD.
Lawrence, you better put that bow
FOD.
tie back on because you're getting real dark side there, boy.
I just want to know.
Yes,
Matthew's
yes.
sitting there like he's trying to figure out.
Oh,
he's
he
trying to
knows.
figure out the acronym, I think.
Oh, he knows.
Straight on
I
board?
sure
Is that what I heard?
No,
FOAD.
no, yeah, right.
No.
Yeah. No,
So
Green,
another important one to learn, or that I've had to learn the hard way, is since last year, one of the things that's been happening with me is I no longer have a business partner in my accounting firm, and um, it's really important when you have two people, if you have multiple people in the same firm that are bringing clients in at the same time, adding on to your QBO subscription.
Oh,
Strongly suggest what you should do is have a hierarchy of Parkway team is the lead on everything, and you always accept everything through that, right? Or the invites, and then every one of the partners are still team members. Because what I ran into is he left the company. He was master admin on a whole bunch of things. He took and the 2FA, multi-factor authentication for his email address was his personal cell, and it has not been the most cordial separation, making it very difficult to be able to get these things untwisted. And when I needed to go to offboard a client, I couldn't even do it because I wasn't a primary or master admin to be able to release it.
wow.
Very good point. Very good point. Thank you for that. Wow.
I've actually had a fairly similar conversation with my husband recently, because a lot of the, Amazon and our utilities and whatnot, he manages that account, and of course, so what does he do? The two-factor authentication goes to his cell phone. I looked at him and I said, what happens when you drop dead tomorrow? I don't have a thumbprint to get into your cell phone. Like, I can't get into any of this stuff. And
so there's no backup. There's not like a.
Oh,
if the thumbprint
yeah.
doesn't work?
He then started talking and said something, oh, you'll find the backup in the blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so he
Kind of
doesn't know
Started
that.
talking, and then I just tuned him out.
Yeah. When he told me that there is a backup somewhere, and apparently I'm the backup. So after 30 or 90 days of no one checking his email, it will all start flooding to me and start going, is he okay? But I'm like, great. So now I got to wait 90 days before I
90
pay.
days?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember.
What happens if you have to pay a bill between then and
Like,
Stacy,
yeah.
Stacy, if
60
he gets
days
hit
without
by
gas?
if he gets hit by a truck, cut his hands off.
Yeah, well, that I'm gonna start. Well, and now it's no longer even fingerprints; it's the face recognition on the phone. So I'm
You know
gonna have
what?
to be
Make a mask. It does. Okay. I have you guys. This is going to be hilarious.
Last pass, people. Last pass. This is so much.
Really?
Well, yeah,
Absolutely
we have a
not.
last pass too, but the facial, I actually I'm on a CPAP machine. So I look like something straight out of Star Wars. Like when I have this, somebody straight out of Star Wars, or like, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I put it up to my face. Half the time it recognizes me. And I'm like, I don't know how.
Have
With
you
this
not
great-
seen Mission Impossible? You need to get one of those masks.
That's what I'm like. Exactly. Just get, as long as it somewhat looks like him, it's fine.
You need those masks, like on Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Oh, but yes, Matthew, we've there's been a lot of we need to make sure that we have access to any of that stuff, and in some cases we've set it up properly, more by fluke than anything else. But yeah, it's it is certainly something to think about.
I don't use TFA on my phone for the only people I do it for is my bank. But Gail already has signing authority on most of the accounts.
See, my husband and daughter, they know my passwords.
Oh,
To my phone, anyway. To my
yeah,
phone.
no. Apparently that's what my husband said. He goes, no, you know the master password. It's all good. Like, so in theory, I should be able to get it, because when I'm hyperventilating, because the husband's
You'll
just
remember
passed
the
out.
master password, right? Yeah.
So how many of you have actual cybersecurity insurance?
I do.
Good. Because
Yes.
that's something that's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And obviously passwords and that kind of stuff is why I bring it up. I mean, I used to do the whole same password for everything. Now I love LastPass Enterprise to where I don't know any of those passwords. They're so random and just
Matthew.
Dashlane, same thing.
Yeah, same thing. I have one password. And same thing. My problem now is, I got a new phone. Now I got to install first one password into the phone. I'm like, I got to find that master password.
You only need to know one password, though. Only one.
Can't forget that one.
Sorry,
Okay,
the
I
master
have-
password, yeah, but the key, the authenticate, we
key.
have it, yeah,
Oh.
the key, that,
Oh,
Tattoo it on the bottom of your foot.
digits, 20 digits
Yeah,
long.
just
or
for
25
everybody,
digits
just for everybody
long.
to think, oh, you know, Matthew's trying to scare you. You know, my
No.
client, we got phished last year.
Yeah.
Same client had another attack again earlier, 2 weeks ago, where
Yep.
again, I got an email allegedly from him. And this time, by the way, it had the company logo in the email, which was missing from the last one.
Wow.
Okay, asking me to transfer $200,000 to China. So I,
That was actually to my bank account, and I really wish you would have followed through with it.
sorry, man, it didn't fall through.
Let me get on that right now.
But part of the phishing is they got into his email. And so any emails from me to him were going to a hidden folder on his drive. So he didn't see the emails from me saying, what the hell is this all about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And they
That's
were
nuts.
sending me back emails. Did you transfer the money yet? We need the money done.
mhm.
And it's written in his style, which means they've been watching his email for some time. And
Yep.
I know that part of the problem is he uses the same password for everything or a variation on the same password
Well,
for everything. And I have tried to get him to change to something a little bit more secure. I think he finally did it this time. He had somebody come in and set some stuff up on his computer. But this is the second time that I know of that he's been hacked this way.
so
He tells me it happened at least one time before.
Kathy Badry, who's a part of the Bootcamp group, is very big on that, on passwords and security and all of that stuff. And she came in and did a presentation for us at one point. And essentially, it's if your password is like 8-9 digits long, whatever, it takes an average of 3 to 4 seconds with the software to hack your password. If your password is, and most of the hacking software goes in the off digits. I guess because most people are like, they'll do like 16, 18, like whatever. So if you go to an odd number first off, and once you hit 18, so if you go to 19 or 21, so mine are 21 to 23 on average. As soon as you go to something above 19, pick it to an odd number, have numbers, letters, symbols in there. It will take an average of, with the current software, like 1 billion years to hack it or something like that. So
that's why some people are suggesting, if not even numbers, but to go with a passphrase that means
Well-
something to you.
well, and that's mine to my last pass is a passphrase that means something to me, but it's not going to mean anything to anybody else. And there's numbers and letters and symbols in there that, again, instead of like a 3, I might use an E, or like E, I'll use a 3 or something like that. But it's really, really hard to hack. But then LastPass, I'm like, nope, anything in there, I'm like, nope, I know one password and that's it.
For hackers, actual hackers going out, they're going to try to go for the easy, the low hanging fruit, right? The
Yes.
6 most
Or
common
the big payoff.
or the big payoff. The 6 most common passwords out there: your spouse's or your children's name, the name of your
Yeah.
pet, Gandalf,
Password.
and
Well,
Seth.
Password
And
one,
this
two,
is
three.
this is actually why they say, Stacy, that you should not answer some of those Facebook things where they say,
Oh,
oh
yeah,
fill
never.
these questionnaires in.
Yeah.
Where would your favorite vacation? You're this or that. And I've never even thought about that. I heard about that a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, oh my God, that's right. That could potentially, now it wouldn't work on me, but it could potentially collect enough information.
Oh, no, but you put your
people.
birth date up on that picture.
Oh, I'm an idiot for that. Yes, I'm such an idiot I didn't even clue into that. Yeah, so I am now a lady, officially Lady Tanya Hiltz of Glencoe, because I bought 11 square feet in Scotland. So it's just a fun thing. So I actually have a little picture card. So Matthew's looking like, what? Apparently, if you own land in Scotland, you then are grandfathered the title. I'm allowed to use it. I cannot put it on any English document or British government documents because they'll say, yeah, I don't think so. But so they've given me this little card that I can use. And apparently if I travel in Scotland, it will give me some hotel benefits. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I took a picture of it and I put it up. And then Lawrence is like, was up there a full day. And he's like, that's got your date of birth on it. I'm like, oh crap.
Oh, okay. hold on, Tanya. I
And
can
so
see
her
where
ladyship
Matthew's.
lost all of her land in the land scam 10 minutes after she bought.
My 11 square feet of land gone.
Okay,
You
hold on,
need
hold
a
on.
vast
Matthew still
tract
looks
of
confused
land.
here. Matthew still looks confused, and I wanna clear something up. So Scotland is a country that's outside of the United States and Canada. It's not in North America.
Oh, you've
It's
met your match, Matthew.
part of
And they
And
speak
I
Great
think I
funny
flew
there.
over it when I went to India and then went to Amsterdam. So I think I heard,
And
I
did you
saw
know that
something.
the
But
US has a
actually, I think there was an
North
LED right on
Canada?
Tanya's land.
Yeah.
But I was going to sell her some in California, but see, in California, that would have cost $1 million still.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And
And I
land
don't get the title in California, but hey, maybe it was some really good wine, like wine countries where people
Actually,
might get some good
California is
grapes.
all about giving yourself your own titles and identities and identification,
really?
however you want nowadays. So you
Oh,
can
really? Well, there we
whatever
go.
you want.
Can I ask a quick question? Just because I need a bunch of brains here right now.
Okay.
So if I'm in my QBOA account and I have
Oh, a
my
serious
client that
question.
shows- yeah, the client
Okay.
that shows all the apps that are connected. If I just go on the ellipses and go disconnect, that's going to disconnect.
So yes and no, depending on if you were the primary person that made the connection. If you made the
Yeah,
connection,
I
you
made the
have the ability
connection.
to
I
disconnect.
connected it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
But but it's also being charged to my account. So I want to make sure that I'm disconnecting it. And then when they get the invite, they got to put in their own credit card information. It's
So-
automatically going to take my
so
personal information off, right?
I would then log into the app and make sure that it's canceled in the app as well. That's how I've always gone into the app to do it. I haven't done it by going in by the little ellipses
QBOA?
and that.
Okay.
Not through the QBOA. I always go into the app.
Okay.
This isn't the one that took you forever to get T-sheets to. Oh, it is.
we're not speaking of that one.
No, we're really not.
Yeah.
Okay,
Client
I
that
keep
shall
all
not
my
be
ROMs
named.
T-sheets. Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. What was that you were saying? Sorry. I don't know who's speaking.
Well, ever since our big green machine decided it's, combine the two and change how QuickBooks Time is now part of it all and get rid of T-sheets, they keep having this issue where certain accounts, when you try to use it, it will like switch over to the new billing aspect, and then it creates this phantom account and you can't do anything and they don't connect anymore. And it's like,
Oh
it's
no.
nifty.
Yeah,
It
they're
took
having some
me-
real issues with that.
It took me half a day to get on the phone with the sales rep for QB Time the other day. Half a day. I spoke to 5 people, and the last person was like, listen, I'm going to hop on Slack and figure out who should talk to you and have them call you, what number. But seriously, that's
Wow. That's ridiculous. But you know what? It's 5 o'clock. My dinner's ready. I just saw it.
yeah.
I've got
Oh,
barbecued zucchini straight out of our greenhouse. So yay.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
I
that's
didn't know they grow in the
side.
snow. They grow in the snow?
Smart ass.
Well, if somebody has 5
We have a greenhouse. There's no snow goes in the greenhouse. We have heaters in the greenhouse.
It's good to see you all.
Anyway,
Oh,
yes,
good
thank
to
you
see
so
you
much for
guys.
joining us. Great to
See
see
everybody.
everybody.
Appreciate it.
Good conversation.
All right.
Have a great
Okay,
weekend,
have a great
everybody.
weekend, all.
have
Take
a great
care.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye.